Let's call the board meeting to order for the July 27th, 2023 meeting. Welcome to all of you. Glad you are here. We have due as far as the agenda, there is an item that needs to be added. So, Dr. Bates, can you tell that?
Madam President, I recommend that on item 23, request for closed session, we add C, legal issues, 610.020, parentheses 1.
Motion to approve agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, Lisa, do we have any citizens comments?
No, we do not.
All right, looks like we're going to meet some new employees.
Hello. Would you please stand? I cannot tell you how thrilled we are to have Miss Krista Poe back on our nursing team with us again. I say that because Krista was here full time for years and as adjunct prior to she and her husband moving to Alaska. He serves in the Air Force, still does. And she has returned to us after several years away. She is a passionate and talented educator. She is an OB expert. So we are thrilled to have her back with us, and she's all moved in and has started already this summer. So glad to have you.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
Natalie Haig was hired as our admissions coordinator. She's not here this evening. She had an appointment she could not reschedule, so we'll do her formal introduction next month.
Yeah, we have a few. First of all, in our IEM program, introduce James Kilby.
Hi, nice to meet everyone.
James is worked for Springfield Mechanical Contractors, working as project manager, doing all the IEM controls and PLC systems, and he's got a lot of years at SNC Electric. I could go on and on. A lot of teaching experience with apprenticeship programs, doing this kind of stuff. So a lot of years. We won't tell how many he's doing. And of course, just so you know, he's got a bachelor's in electrical engineering technology, as well as his journeyman's electrician. So he's going to be leading our IEM program for us. So glad to have him.
Look forward to doing it.
And then I didn't know he's on the list, but he's up there behind us or in front of me. But so Brady, he's waving at you. Brady Glover is currently part of our Sedalia family. He worked at the CTC, doing the IEM, doing the robotics, bringing this high school students. So we've moved him up to work with Jim in our IEM program. So they're going to be tag teaming and running the program for the college side. So we're glad to have Brady on the team, or moved up on the team, and he's currently in Wisconsin, right? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm in Wisconsin at an NC3 Train the Trainer event right now.
Yep, he's where I came from last week. Great weather there, so I'm a little envious because it's like 70 in the evenings. It's awesome. So
It's gorgeous up here.
yeah, I know, right on the marina.
Absolutely.
And then finally, we've got Seth Stucker for doing our well ago. And some of y'all may know him. Seth has done a lot of independent contractor work, did a lot of pipeline welding the last 9 years, a lot of good stuff. He's done all kinds of other things, certifications, drive a forklift. He can probably drive anything, do anything. He's one of those folks that makes great, folks for us to teach. But he's got some connections here too. So tell your connections here with that you have at the school.
My stepdad, Derek Fudge, in IT, and then my mom was Jody Fudge.
So you all may remember that. So he knows a little bit to ask him how to get started. So he's been very good to help himself get going, and he's been working hard already for us. So we're very excited to have him here.
What color was the truck you used to drive?
Uh-oh, did you catch
His folks lived diagonal for me for a long time.
My Hamlin, or
I'm talking about the one with the pipes by you.
again, was
I can be more technical on the back.
Gotten away from the really loud.
When your company is called Outlaw Welding or something along those lines, yeah.
Well, welcome to each of you.
Well,
We also, Deshaun Portly's unable to attend today, so we'll, introduce him.
All right. We're glad to have you. Those of you that are guests and would like to leave, if you've got something else, we'll let you go. You're welcome to stay.
Mr. Glove's coming.
Yeah. Thank you for coming in. We love meeting the new employees. All right, so next on the agenda is the June 29th, 2023 board meeting. Those were emailed out as well as they're attached. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hey Keith, we need a warrant for June of 2023.
Give you a warrant for June of 2023. A warrant of fiscal year. During the month of June, we had disbursements of $5,280,814. A little bit higher than normal, but that was driven by, as you'll see here, some payments for our various construction and renovation projects going on. So in addition to accounts payable of almost $3 million, we have the Stockbrook renovation payments to Westport for 86 and 69. Building renovations, Reeves Bank, the general contractor for 654, 139. And then Embry Electric, who put in the new electrical gear for 105, 520. So those are some of the expenses going to those renovations. Payroll for the month, 93,885, payroll taxes on that, it was 608. Financial aid, 2021, utilities, and 216, the rest. So 5.52 for dispersed in the month of June. Motion to approve.
A second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ready for institutional report?
Yes, if it's okay, since Brady is zooming in from Wisconsin and he probably has a boat ride on the river or something to go to, let's skip ahead to his presentation first. Brady is presenting on Skills USA, and he's going to recognize a special student guest. And so Brady.
Okay, so my special guest here is Eric. He's sitting right here. This is Eric Thomas. Eric has been a student of mine for the last 2 years. And then he'll be joining us this fall, coming into our robotics program also. Anyway, so he has been participating in Skills USA for the last 2 years. We took him to nationals last year over the summer. He got 11th place, and this year we went down just last month after competing and getting first in state. He actually got third in nationals this year and was got a pretty good award. So we put a little presentation together about how about what we did to prepare and what he did while we were down there. And if I could get this thing to share my screen, I'll share it with you. Where'd it go here? You'd think the tech guy would know how to do this, right? There we go. All right. So, come on, there we go. All right. So our theme this year was Our Time Is Now. So he competed in industrial motor controls. We had a bunch of tech standards that we had to go over ahead of time, and I can share this PowerPoint with you all. I can go over a few of them. We had to go over different equipment and materials we had to use, set all that up. You can see this over here on the left side. On the right side, it was the skills, and here are all the skills he had to learn ahead of time: how to connect switches, lights, relays, control transformers, you name it. And he had to compete against 19 other students in the nation that were doing the same thing. One of the parts of the contest was conduit bending. He had to learn how to build bend four different pieces of conduit. They were the 3-point saddle, 4-point saddle, back-to-back bend, and offset. You know, I think he struggled with a few of those, but he did all right. Ultimately, Eric is a just an awesome student and picks up on things really well, a lot better than I ever could. But here he is competing at the national level. This was down at nationals in Atlanta, I'm sorry. What you see here is all of the components that he had to install and wire up while we were there. All the different relays, control transformers, boxes, conduit, you name it. And here he is wiring them all up. We had to learn schematic reading, so we had to learn how to, excuse me. He had to learn how to read schematics and how to install it all. Ultimately, here he is. Sorry, my screen's in front. Here he is with his final product, and this is what he had wired up. Students have to demonstrate their knowledge of electrical principles, equipment, and industry codes and standards as it relates to the design and installation. He also had to prepare a resume as part of Skills USA that you're a good all-around citizen and employee. So these two people here that he's interviewing with are actually industry professionals that were only here for Skills USA, and they had let us all know that just because this is a mock interview doesn't mean it cannot turn into a real interview real quick. So this could have actually turned into a real interview right there on the spot. He also had to troubleshoot where all the competitors were given the exact same box with, I'm pretty sure they told me the exact same problem in them, but he had to go through using the tools and the skills he'd learned over the last couple of years just to be able to troubleshoot what problem was in that box. After all the competitions were done, there were several other events we got to do down there, one of which was the State Farm Basketball Arena down in Atlanta. It's where the Atlanta Hawks play basketball. All Skills USA members got together. We had a couple of little shows go on down there, a couple magicians go on, and then he got to be presented with his award. This was aired over YouTube nationally. And there's the other competitors. That this competition takes place on the secondary and post-secondary level. So what you see there is the six winners on the secondary and post-secondary side. And when I talked to him last month, last I checked, Eric, are you still joining me in Skills USA for the third time next year?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Awesome. But like I said, ultimately he got third place. He got a whole gambit of new tools that they were given to. Has your ladder come in yet?
It has.
It has. Okay.
Sort of step ladder, but it's a ladder.
Yeah. And what do you think about the whole thing, Eric?
I think it was a really good opportunity for me to show off all the things that I've learned and all my skills that I've developed just over these 2 years at IAM.
What are your career interests?
For interest, I'm trying to, well, this class has specifically got me into industrial kind of scope of things, specifically electrical and motor control areas. And I think this contest has really shown me what those standards would be if I were going to that field. I think it's really prepared me for it.
Our local industry better scoop you up fast.
I'm hoping they
We're
will.
gonna be in high demand. What high school did you graduate from?
I just graduated from Greenridge.
So all this, Brady was all through as the CTC student, correct?
Yes, sir. All this was at the high school level, junior and senior in high school. And then next year he'll get to compete on the post-secondary side as a freshman in college.
He just wants to go to nationals again.
And we saw this big head there in the picture.
Going for first this year, right?
Nationals next year.
It might be in Georgia again. It's been for the past years.
Years. Sometimes they do it to Louisville, Kentucky. It just depends.
Yeah.
Atlanta, West.
Well, we're very proud of you, and you represented State Fair Community College and CPC in a very professional manner. We appreciate that, and we wish you the best.
I tried to.
Yeah, you're welcome to stick around for the meeting too, or you can.
All right. I got a boat to catch.
What's that?
Here's a
I
photo.
said I got a boat to catch.
All right. See you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Christy Woolery's giving us an update on dual credit. And Kara Barthagan has an announcement about a program that she's going to piggyback on. And maybe I was going to ask Jim to do that introduction. Jim, do you have more introduction to say? I had a note.
Has been with our college quite some time. She was one of the first navigators we had. When dual credit moved over to the academic side a couple years ago, I hired her as our dual credit manager. As she'll tell you in a minute, I mean, we average about 1,000 students a year. So she's right now facing an office of one. So she's doing a lot of work. We appreciate it. And she's going to walk you through some of the things we do and some of the numbers and answer questions throughout.
Yeah, I'm going to, should apologize now because I'm going to try to cut this short and I'm fairly certain I should talk for quite some time. Thank you very much, Lisa. So I'm going to go ahead and move on the screen once I get started. But so just a brief rundown real fast of what dual credit is. Here we go. So dual credit is that opportunity for high school students to take college level classes and receive college level credit while they're still in high school. And we offer different locations for them to take these dual credit classes. Those are going to be at their specific high schools. It's at our CTCs, as well as any of our campus locations, and that includes online. In there, this is just kind of a list of the course or the schools that offer dual credit through State Fair with us. So there's about 20 some schools that currently offer dual credit at their high schools, meaning that their teachers teach for us, they're employed by us. And then the same for the CTCs, there's about 8 on there now. And so again, a lot of students enroll in those specific high schools, but a lot of them take classes at other campuses and others as well. Those instructors that are teaching dual credit at the high schools, those are high school teachers that are employed by us. They are required to have the same qualifications as our college instructors as well. So a master's level, graduate degree in the subject area they're wanting to teach, or at least 18 credit hours in the graduate level. They have to be approved by a division chair, program coordinator, as well as dean for approval to be able to teach before we add them to the schedule or anything like that. So we talked a little bit about faculty requirements, so student requirements to take dual credit classes. Juniors and seniors have to have a 2.5 or higher GPA to take dual credit with us. Sophomores have to have a 3.0 or higher GPA. And freshmen have to have that 3.0 as well, but they have a little bit of a higher expectation. They're required to have an ACT completed and they have to be in the 90th percentile. So we don't have a lot of freshmen that take dual credit classes. Many of them don't have high school GPA yet, especially that fall semester. But not many sophomores, let alone freshmen, have taken the ACT. So in a 90th percentile, you're looking at like a 29 on the ACT. So yeah.
So why is the standard more rigorous in the earlier years?
Maturity level, we want to make sure that they're successful because this quality, this transcript goes with them forever. So this begins their college transcript. So we want to make sure they're successful and that starts on that end. So just making sure that they have that maturity is for the most part. There's some college content in classes as well. We want to make sure they're prepared for it.
And this is state.
State requirement, yes, it is. They also have to have permission from a parent or guardian, and then also the school. So we require all of those. Depending on what classes they wish to enroll in, it's going to depend on whether or not they need the appropriate placement test scores for reading, writing, and math as well. A quick reference of what the steps are to enroll in dual credit classes. They have to complete the online application to be a student at State Fair. So step 1. If they haven't already taken the AccuPlacer or have ACT scores on file, this is the time to go ahead and get that AccuPlacer scheduled, as well as searching for classes. I will say most dual credit students know what classes they're wanting to take, but making sure they know the information about the specific course. It's a really good time to get that lined out. Once they have their student ID number, that meaning that their application has been processed and ready to go, they are able to send in their dual credit paperwork, and that is their dual credit enrollment. And the enrollment form is their request essentially to enroll in specific courses. This counselor will send that to us with their approval and final stamp on it, and we will enroll them into their classes as soon as we get that enrollment form. Searching for classes can be a little difficult to navigate. If you don't know for sure where the courses are at and what you're searching for exactly, it can be a little bit cumbersome. So we've created what I call it like the quick reference guides, if you will, or quick handouts for our counselors to have. And so this is kind of what that looks like. Every school that we work with is provided a 12-week online class listing of the usually most enrolled in dual credit classes that we offer that students enroll in. And so this quick reference guide has all the needed information that's going to be required on that dual credit enrollment form. Anything that I can do at all to make life easier on our counselors is what I'm shooting for. Anything that we can make it simple for them and make it easy for them as possible to get their information to us, to get their students enrolled. And this has become a really good opportunity for them to utilize too. As they meet with students, they can have it in front of them, meet with them. It gives information on if there is a course fee, so like a direct access fee associated with it, what the prerequisites are, and then of course, if it meets the Core 42 requirement or not. Yes,
What's the far right? The yes and no's?
that's the Core 42. So if it meets the Core 42 standard, yes or no. The smart sheet for enrollment errors. So not everybody gets enrolled without some kind of trouble or issue or something, right? There's always some kind of error. So when I first started, we were doing this via email. So needless to say, when you're working with 1,000 students and 70, 80 different schools and different things, there is a lot of emails that are being passed. So we came up with the smart sheet. So every school that most every school that we have enrollment with, I have a smart sheet dedicated to that specific school. Dual credit office has access to it, and then our counselor at that specific school has access to it. It's a live document. I do a lot of enrollment of an evening during heavy enrollment time because it's just the only opportunity really to get that done. So I tell my counselors, you come in tomorrow morning, you check your enrollment smart sheet every day. So if we know a student doesn't have test scores and they're wanting to test into or take Comp 1 this semester, and I go to enroll them tonight and I find out they don't have test scores, I can place them on the form. When the counselor comes in tomorrow, she can say, oh goodness, he didn't take his placement test. I haven't sent those scores over yet, or whatever it may be, and you might be able to get that addressed today instead of multiple. So it's just a huge communication tool. Both the smart sheet and the quick reference guides for classes has been a really, really huge benefit when it comes to communication with our counselors. Give you a little bit of information in regards to our head count and our credit hours. So fall and spring, I kind of did it back and forth, and then so fall 21 across, we have spring 22 for the year, fall 22, spring 23. It gives you a little bit of an indication of our total number of credit hours. So dual credit students that were enrolled in any classes, total credit hours. Duplicated head count again means that if I'm enrolled in 2 classes at State Fair for dual credit, I get counted twice. Duplicated means if I'm enrolled in 2 classes at State Fair, I get counted once. So you can kind of see the number of classes. And again, this is going to include dual credit high schools, online, State Fair, campus, Clinton campus, LOZ, all of our campus locations as well.
But that's not the CTC.
No.
What do we account the dip for fall 22 to spring 23?
So our fall enrollment is always higher than our spring enrollment. And some of that has to do with we have year-long classes that we have enrollment into. And I, there's some different facets that come into play, but I think that's one of our largest ones. Others just happen to be that we have seniors too, that I think they take in that fall semester that we don't always get that higher enrollment in the spring semester from our seniors. So
Sometimes there's a timing issue too with high school graduation and our schedule, so we just don't see as much.
And again, I don't know if you can see this or not, this is just kind of a breakdown per campus. And I just did fall 22, spring 21, fall 21, spring 23. So you've got a few more years, and I can email this out if anybody would like that too. So that way you can see the numbers a little bit better. But the areas I want to focus on is some of our smaller schools, we don't have such high enrollment in. We go into the schools, we do things, some of those smaller schools don't necessarily have, a huge interest this year in dual credit, but maybe next year they do. So, Green Ridge and Lamont, I've been to the school a few times, trying to kind of get that, just so that way they are aware of us. If nothing else, we're in there, they know where we're at. The Sedalia campus, if you kind of look for the fall 22, it increased And that is due to our Tiger Roadrunner Express that we work with Smith Cotton High School students. They're coming now to our campus. So our dual credit enrollment went down a little bit when it comes to the high schools, but it increased when you look at our Sedalia campus. And from looking at that, you can tell that most of our enrollment is from the high schools as well as, primarily our online. This is dual credit throughout our taxing district. So again, this is just fall 22, spring 23, and then what I have currently for fall of 23. And you can kind of see the numbers in there on where that lies. Numbers for fall obviously are not that high right now because it is fall semester hasn't started quite yet, but we do still have some pretty high enrollment. And I feel like our numbers are up whenever we look at enrollment right now. And I kind of attribute that to in years past, we have done August is a really high priority time to get everybody enrolled in classes. Students come back to school, counselors come back to school, and it's a huge rush and push to get everybody enrolled in those courses. Same thing for January. We've been on winter break, so it's a huge push. So instead of waiting till August and instead of waiting till January, we're trying to enroll students a little bit earlier. So we're trying to kind of change the mind frame a little bit of schools to getting those students enrolled prior to break. It works for some schools. It doesn't work for all. It depends on how they create their schedule. But the ones who are available, if they haven't done it already, or if they hadn't thought about it, they're looking at doing it. So you'll see Smith Cotton. We've got a majority of those taken care of prior to whenever we went on break. And I think it's a benefit to our counselors because it's one less stress for them to have to, worry about when they return. The students are enrolled. I think it's better success for our students. They'll make sure they have their textbooks on time. Everything's ready to go. They're not last minute. So I briefly mentioned the Tiger Roadrunner Express. So what that is, we no longer offer dual credit classes at Smith Cotton High School because their students come here now. We have worked with them to create time blocks for their scheduling. So 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock on Tuesday, Friday, Smith Cotton students come to State Fair campus, and they are enrolled with our college students, as well as our, our high school students that are meshed together, as well as Tuesday, Thursday classes from 8 to 9:15. And they come to State Fair. After they're done with their dual credit classes, they go to the high school and continue the rest of their day. It's been a huge benefit to the students. I think it's a huge opportunity for them to realize just how great State Fair is and what that their classes are different than the expectation of high school. Even if they are enrolled primarily with dual credit students from State or from Smith Cotton, it is still a unique fit and it's different and it's fun for them. It's been really good. So Smith Cotton's worked with them on transportation and how all that works as well. So it's been really good.
I will add, through Christie's work, we now have our Sacred Heart, we're sending some students this fall to take a math class too. So new avenue that we haven't had before. So.
Yes, this is really exciting too. And they're only doing math this semester, but I'm hoping it starts that door for some new opportunities too.
Did they say why they're just doing math?
They're wanting some upper level math classes and they don't have the ability to teach them on their campus. And so we don't offer the upper level math classes online. And so this is that opportunity. And I tell you too, I think we would have more input when it comes to, because I'd like to get, we kind of talked about the fact that our CTCs come over. So it'd be nice to have other schools. But there's the problematics of class times and where those fall and if they can be out. So it's just conversation of trying to get our locations and our class times down, if that makes sense.
Their bell schedules don't line up.
Yeah.
The holidays.
And then a side factor that comes out of this, the overall experience, that just one class,
Yes.
then.
But that's what I think there's about 8 or 10 students. I'm thinking this will be such a great opportunity. It's going to be positive for them. And then that builds onto, well, let me tell you what other classes we offer. Yes.
Who does that at 7:30 in the morning?
So after we did the Roadrunner, Tiger Roadrunner Express, we've had some other schools that we're trying to kind of work on that as well. So down at LOZ campus, Tabitha has been working with me and the school, the Osage. We've been working together. And so not only trying to get students at their campus to take some courses, but we've actually been working with their principal in regards to starting their freshman class this year into doing, starting to do an AA program. So completing their associate's degree while in high school, but starting with this freshman class and seeing how many students we can get on campus as well as online. They offer some dual credit at their high school as well. So I attended a lot of sessions, if you will, with some students and parents and things to try to kind of at least build that opportunity up for the incoming freshmen. Now, again, they cannot take classes their freshman year, but the summer after their freshman year, they're available to, and it's a great opportunity to start then, so they're not so overloaded. Clinton campus as well, Dara has been really great about Sherwood has been wanting to come to Clinton campus, and so she's created some time blocks and some special scheduling that works for Sherwood High School specifically, but of course, college students are able to enroll in those classes as well. So it's not just for dual credit students, but it's time blocked for them if it's their schedule. And then she's also working with Clinton High School and would like to get some Clinton students over there as well. Just a little bit about the free State Fair's free dual credit program versus what we have is the dual credit dual enrollment scholarship that we have through the Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development. So in September of 2019, we announced that we were going to have the free dual credit program. And what that was starting in the spring of 2020, we were going to allow students who qualified for free and reduced lunch at their high school to receive free tuition at State Fair for dual credit. So anybody who qualified for free and reduced, they filled out paperwork at their high schools, they were eligible to receive free dual credit through State Fair. Huge opportunity for students. In September of 2022, the state of Missouri offered a new scholarship opportunity. And this scholarship, we didn't know at the time, but they changed it to allow this same thing that students who qualified for free and reduced lunch were now eligible for this scholarship. So since they allowed us information in September and we had already enrolled, well, almost all of our dual credit students into their classes, we maintained the free and reduced lunch program through State Fair, so free tuition for those students, but we ended it that fall semester, and in the spring of 2023, we no longer allow the free and reduced lunch to allow free tuition at State Fair. They must apply for the free and reduced or the dual credit dual enrollment scholarship through the state. Added bonus is we were offering free tuition. It offers free tuition and any fees that are associated with the student's account as well. So it's a huge benefit. But it is it's an application process, very easy. They can work with their counselor. They can work with us to get that taken care of too. So it's very, very easy. But anyways, no more free dual credit through the scholarship through State Fair. It definitely has to be through the state of Missouri. So like I said, we were going to end it in the fall semester, but since classes had already started, we went ahead and remained and allowed those students to still receive credit. But we did have 14 students that applied, and those 14 students brought in $5,707 of dual credit scholarship money from the state. And in the spring of 2023, we had 114 students that received funds, and that came in as $56,973. I wanted to say it was new revenue because it sounds good. It's not really new revenue financially. It's not new. It's just revenue we haven't had in a while. So it's still, for me, I haven't had it, but it's still new. Thank you. But it is a huge opportunity for us to capitalize on. Those students are still receiving the opportunity to have the scholarship money coming in, and we benefit from that as well. So. And then I briefly mentioned on the early college program. And so the students that are wanting to complete their Associate of Arts degree while in high school, while School of the Osage is looking at doing it, we do have a lot of students that start this process and path currently. I will say this is not a path for every student. It does require a lot of time management, discipline. They have to understand the expectations that they're truly going in, that it's a lot of work to complete 64 credits in high school, along with their high school, along with extracurriculars, and if they are employed, and all of those things that high school students have. But it is doable. Students will meet with their high school counselor as well as us at State Fair to kind of make sure that they're on track and they understand the expectations. If they sign up for this process and they decide that it's too much, that's okay too, because they can still complete almost everything and come to State Fair for one more semester, maybe to complete that degree. So it's still a benefit for them to start working towards this. Again, we work with them on degree planning, telling them how many classes to expect every semester, things like that. Advising to find out where they're planning to transfer, if they have goals and knowing where they want to go, because if they can take it State Fair that's going to benefit that transfer, we want to make sure we're doing the best that we can for them. Courtney Casey right now is the early college advisor, I guess I want to call her. She works with our early college students and meets with them one-on-one to kind of make sure those plans are lined out. So it's been really good for us to work together to kind of get that started and going as well, because our admissions team has been hugely beneficial in the past with that. But then those students also can graduate from state fair. So many students will graduate with us on Friday night and then graduate from their high school on Saturday. So it's kind of fun to be able to have those students do that. So I talked a lot about enrollments and numbers, but I do want you to be aware that dual credit is a lot more than just enrollment. So we do schedule the classes at the schools. We work with the counselors and the faculty to make sure that we've got the classes lined out and everything's going. Not only with dual credit, but we also work with our CTCs when it comes to articulated credit and making sure that we've got agreements set up with our CTCs about doing the articulated credit, as well as verifying that students who should be awarded that credit gets added to their account and to the registrar's office. We do a lot of dual credit orientation, parent nights, back to school events, enrollment days. And again, I have to rely heavily on admissions to help with that because they're in the schools as well. And so they assist tremendously when it comes to doing those, which is hugely beneficial too. Advisors already know who the schools are too, so it's helpful. Right now, there's myself in the office and Kim Comer, and Kim is Dean Cunningham's administrative assistant. So she does our applications. She works with the slate and gets our application to make sure everything's good. We are looking to hire a dual credit specialist. So we've got the works for somebody to come in and assist with that. And then just again, FYI, as you look through the numbers, you'll see that we've got about 1,000 students that we work with on a semester, give or take, depending on hoping to grow that and serve approximately 90 schools, you know, give or take, again, a few. Sometimes we have one student from one school, sometimes we have 200 students from one school. So our involvement may be high, it may be kind of slim whenever it comes to that, but that's kind of what the dual credit office in a very quick nutshell is.
So reminder that the board, just one of the new positions added this year was that dual.
Yes, yes, and I'm very thankful. Yes.
Chrissy works incredibly hard. She has a son who plays baseball at Smith Cotton High School with my son. And I'm so embarrassed that at the ball games, Christy takes her laptop and pushes dual credit enrollment during the games. All the parents think I'm a horrible boss.
You walk by and you're a little.
Well, I tell her to leave the laptop at home.
No, you're terrible.
Any questions? Anybody have anything?
Back on that high schools. Nichols CTC is Jefferson City,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And I noticed Fort Osage, which is outside our service area.
We have, and my understanding, the reason we still have it's ag. We have an ag class that's offered up there, and so.
In most situations, what we do is we reach out to the community college in that region and they'll say, yeah, we don't cover that. You're welcome to do that. So
Yeah.
we're trying not to, hurt any feelings.
Great, great. It makes sense that maybe
We do
metropolitan community
justice.
college doesn't do the same type of
We do progress also
agriculture.
to Cass County,
Yeah.
CTC as well, so, you know. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys. Thank you for the additional position, as well as thanks for letting me come in and chat a little bit. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
I know you can't,
I know.
I know you can't see this in your handout. This is a flow chart that Dr. Murders has been working on. We've had several discussions and kind of what our vision is maybe for not just dual credit, dual enrollment, but a bigger picture, center of excellence in dual credit, dual enrollment, CTCs, just a lot of things.
Adult dad doing concurrent. I mean, they are.
He's going to talk a lot more about this quite in the future, I think, but I just put it in there tonight to give you an introduction because it ties into Kara, what she's going to talk about. She's on there, but Kara is our education coordinator and she's been working on a program through Central Methodist. So she was on a couple of minutes to share the good news about what they worked out.
So really Christie's on there as well.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It's early college, early in the dual enrollment and all these things that we call, but this is all our students and what we're looking at, not just early college, but early career. So thinking in mind of the CTE programs that we have through CTC, as well as how else can we expand all this? This is a great opportunity to expand, even look at, there's some other possibilities we're going to look at of how we can do this. And it's one reason Christy's got more and more work we're going to pile on her. And hopefully we got her some more help so she's not doing, at the games all the time. But we're looking at her moving and overseeing even a bigger thing, because what she's done here, we want to take to the bigger level. And we, Eric's doing things with CTC, but we want to look at it big picture. Where can we cross over? Where can we do all this for our students? And we may even have students crossing in different, maybe taking some courses, dual credit in one place as well as CTC or whatever. So.
Awesome. She's high energy and motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got tired of listening.
Oh,
And then, of course,
I'm tired of you.
and not to tear off.
The energy.
But on the right side, obviously, we have to have the support services that Dr. Porter has that we have to also think about very deliberately to handle this. Navigators, the pathways, to allow them to do that early so that we can plan from 9th grade or 10th grade or CTC plus this, summers, whatever the opportunity in schools, bell schedules, all these things that Christy was talking about. Those are logistical things also that student support will have to look at. How do we help them get to where they want to be? So there's a lot there, and it's even bigger than we can explain. But again, Kara has another leg in this. It's a great accomplishment.
Thank you, Dr. Butters. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for teachers, right? Because we're an institution. And we need teachers to teach teachers too. So our future teachers need a way to get through their program in a faster pace because we're losing teachers, whether it's due to retirement or attrition or burnout. And that's a real thing. So with Central Methodist University, we put our heads together. We're already providing all the courses that are on this plan, but we've decided, let's try and figure out a way that we can get teachers through the program a little bit faster so they're in the classroom just a little bit quicker. So we can bridge that gap that we've seen of the loss of teachers or the lack of teachers in our elementary schools, our middle schools, and our high schools. So we got together, and like I said, we've already been doing these courses. These are all courses we already have. There's nothing new. It's just, why didn't we do this sooner? And we have put together a plan where the first full year, students will attend fall, spring, and summer at State Fair, earning their general education courses and part of their teacher ed program courses. The fall of their second year will be another full load of teacher ed classes here at State Fair. Then their spring of their second year, they're actually going to do a dual enrollment at State Fair plus Central Methodist University. Their second summer, they're going to then transfer to CMU full time, and they will be taking a full load every semester. If you can see the numbers down underneath each semester, we've got 15 and a half. Summer, we have 9 hours, which is pretty full for summer, 17, and so on. But this program that we've designed, fast track or this accelerated track, are for students who are highly motivated to get into the classroom. And so that's going to be communicated with those who are interested that, hey, you're going to be full load, you're pedal to the metal, you're going to be going and doing well. And we want highly motivated people to be teachers. And obviously our teachers are going to be the best of the best, right? So we're going to get them through faster. Their third year, they'll be full-time at Central Methodist, and then spring, their third year, they will be 16 hours, followed by their third summer, and the fall of which would be their 3.5 year, really at the beginning of their fourth year, but the 3.5 year, they'll be in the classroom doing their student teaching. So we're going to get from the beginning, even maybe in high school, we're going to get students taking gen ed classes, get them further along on this track, get them out sooner, into the classroom sooner, and we're going to have teachers that are highly qualified and ready to rock and roll after 3.5 years of their education. So nothing is different on our end, nothing is different on Central Methodist end, except that we've partnered, we've created this accelerated track, and we just released the press release about it. Already had about 10 emails from students who are ready to rock and roll and get into the program. We've worked out with Central Methodist the financial aid part, so we take care of financial aid while they're here. Financial aid at Central Methodist will take care of financial aid for them. Everything's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We're gonna get students through. We're gonna hopefully have lots of new teachers out in the community sooner.
So that's what I wanted to share with you. I'm super excited about it. Do you have any questions?
So Kara, if they plan this right, with dual credit and this, could they actually do it in 3 years versus 3.5?
Oh, yeah.
Eliminate a half, so they're student teaching
Oh, yeah.
spring of the third year,
Yep.
and then they can have a job that following fall.
So the beauty of this is that I offer some courses in teacher ed that they could take as a junior or senior. They can also take their comp classes like English Comp 1 and 2 and some of their math. So if those are already completed, we knock those off and they fill in the gap with a new class. And they get through quicker, like you said. Now, that may pose a little bit of an issue for some people, you know, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have my kids are gonna be taught by a 21-year-old. We've got subs in there right now that are 18, that are.
Look at some of the classes this
Yeah.
year.
And I want to compliment Kara because I've met with all of the superintendents in Pettis and Benton County. And I asked each of them, what can we do for you? And the number one response was, get us teachers faster. Kara Barth Fagan, Central Methodist of Cape Fear Community College has stepped to the plate to do that. And so I applaud Kara for that.
Kara, do one before that thought. Good thought, I was sorry. No, it's great, though. You're the president. The age bracket that we're actually looking at is for classes is K through 12. So
Yeah,
just
first-
the whole gamut.
Pardon
So
me
no
for
one-
interrupting.
I'm sorry.
Pardon me for interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, you can just I get this all the time. But anyway, so I was just wondering if it was going to have more of a focus toward the elementary or if it didn't have.
Thank you for bringing that up. It is geared more towards early childhood, elementary, middle school, and special education. The high school, because you teach a subject focus and you have math classes that you have to take, it may take you a little longer and you will have to achieve that in the 4 years. But for our early childhood, our elementary and our middle school and special ed, they can accomplish this.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the beauty is we have on-ground, online, hybrid courses, all options available in different formats. So 8 to 12
different
weeks
campuses.
and different campuses.
Awesome.
So, and it's also set up where that last year, they're in the classroom, so if they ever change their minds, the state or states, where you can actually, you know, be teaching as provisional and earning it, you're really working already. And that's kind of the model we set, even though it doesn't sound as fast, it really has a lot of thought put into it that it has potential, depending upon what the state does to help speed things up. We'll be lined up even faster. if that
It's
makes sense.
already happening.
Yes.
There are student teachers who have been hired while they're student teaching
So-
because they need those.
So it's set up to be that provisional. So even though it sounds like 3.5, really it's 3 years plus then maybe you're working and. So that was part of that.
Are we on the leading edge then, you think, because probably not other community colleges are doing it?
And I would like to make sure that SFCC gets noted for, we came up with the idea and then
Yeah.
we let UCM partner with it. No.
I do have a meeting with UCM in September, so we'll be looking for that too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your hard work. Thank you all for coming. All right. So we're ready for number 8, which is loan or leasing schedule.
Yeah, consistently needing reports from.
Bring us back to ground.
Kara, you get a steady dose of me. To the business at hand. So every year we need to allocate funds funding for leases and loans. So it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve all loan and lease payments due in FY 24. We paid as designated below. For the Hager Science and Allied Health Certificates of Participation, $600,375 to UMD. For the train equipment lease, energy efficiency lease and purchase agreement. That's $459,974 to Bank of America. The note on the Olin Howard Workforce Innovation Center, which is paid by the foundation, but we pay them effectively when. But they take care of that. They pay us the land lease back, which is $542,582 to Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust. Rent at the Lake Ozarks campus is $169,781 for the year. From campus rent is $197,828 for the year. Science Hall Boonville, $25,400. We allocate Eldon Career Center of $30,000 for that. And then our last lease is with the various copiers and printers. We have $60,000 to want to.
All right, we'll entertain a motion to accept that.
To approve.
So here's a second.
Second.
Any discussion or questions for Keith?
A quick reminder, the Heckert and the train, how much longer do those loans?
Which one is which?
The Heckert is with UMB.
Yeah, I know that. I'm talking which year. One is in FY 28, one's in FY 27. I can't quite remember which one goes.
Okay,
which year.
That I was thinking of like four or
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, so not long. So we're at FY 24 now. So one will mature in 3 years, one will mature in 4 years.
No? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, accounts receivable write-off.
You get a handout for this one for FYI for each of you. And we haven't done till this afternoon. So. Sure. So so for the write-off, I gave you a handout of the last 10 years of, that's about our AR write-off, what we write off each year. It's a table that shows the student charges that are the institutional charges put against the student accounts in that fiscal year. You know, so we charge them the tuition fees, the room, the board, those go on their student account. So we know the total charges that were charged, and then what's the write-off we took each year, and then the percent that is of that. So you get a feel for annually what we've done. And you can see it's a fairly narrow band of what gets charged off. It tends to be roughly 2% a year of in the fiscal year of what is charged to accounts, what gets written off. So this is more just sometimes people get questions and ask, so I give it so you can see it. So for, as you see this year, the amount was a bit lower than the last 2 years, and the percent, 2%. So recommend the Board of Trustees authorize the Vice President, Finance Administration to write off 342,186.21 as uncollected balances for the fiscal year 2023.
Motion to approve.
Okay, second. Questions for Keith?
Just go back to to make sure that the recollection is correct. This is to accounting to reflect our actual cash flow. We're not we say it's a write-off, but the debt is still there and collection is still in process.
That is correct. This is an accounting procedure that we are required by GAAP to any uncollected balances that are past year. We are required by GAAP to, from an accounting standpoint, no longer include them as an asset.
And the GAAP is the accounting standards that we have to follow.
Generally
some educational.
accepted accounting procedures. But yes, we continue to collect the debt never goes away. We continue to collect it, attempt to collect it. As long as it's up.
Do we still pay a company to?
We do have a collection service that we do send our debt to. Typically, once we do this, we'll start sending that to them. It's collection reporting services here in Sedalia, and they do a fine job for us. Yes.
And the state.
And we participate in the state of Missouri's debt offset program, so that if you have an income tax refund due as an agency of the state, and the debt is owed to us or any other agency that should be, that refund can be intercepted in payment of that debt.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, commercial insurance coverages.
So it's in addition to loan and lease payments, we need to allocate funds for various insurance coverage. The first one being the commercial insurance coverage. The commercial insurance is our broad property and casualty, legal liability, automobile, employment practices, everything that goes into the commercial package insurance for us. So it's recommended the Board of Trustees approve the commercial insurance renewal premium payment to our agent Assured Partners, Sterling, Missouri, in the amount of $487,924 for fiscal year 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, more questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Or-
Sorry.
For issues of transparency, Keith has sent out information to the board that the insurance quotes are evaluated annually. That requests for bids go out to multiple carriers annually, and that process has been followed, and that the recommendation that is coming to us comes following due diligence in trying to find the best the needed coverage at the best price, that this quote has reflected the work that has been done in that regard.
Appreciate that. Yeah, so everybody kind of know what we know. All right, now athletic insurance coverage.
The other insurance we have is athletic insurance for obviously our athletes and participation in their sports. That is not covered by our general commercial coverage. That's excluded. So we have athletic insurance. This athletic insurance pays for both medical care and catastrophic situations. So it's recommended the Board of Trustees approve the athletic insurance renewal premium payment to our agent Arthur J. Gallagher, First Agency Branch of Kalamazoo, Michigan, the amount of $72,141 for FY24. This has been accounted for in the FY24 budget. Motion to approve.
Discussion?
One question, Keith, because I don't remember reading. This covers daycare athletes and visiting athletes.
It covers our athletes. The other team.
The other insurances that you guys have worked to put together will cover visiting athletes from other schools, or?
Well, if there's something that occurs that we're liable for, yes. But in the general sense, if they just get injured, they have
That's on.
that school has their own, for instance, if our athlete gets injured in an away game, it's our insurance that covers them. Now, if the other school's basketball goal fell down and fell on him, that's the situation where they have some liability there.
And this is secondary coverage.
Yes, we're saying that the student's personal medical insurance is always primary.
Sure.
This is secondary to that. And
But as long as it's going with our men and women.
it goes with them where they go. So if they are in an away game and they bust a knee, we can take care of it.
Just another question out of curiosity, with our athletes and in the shooting sports, did you see here or otherwise any commentary about that as far as the change of?
They are covered by this.
I'm talking about the insurance companies where they were going, well, we have to up your policy for.
No, there was no really. Actually, they're more worried about basketball and soccer.
There was a slight increase in coverage because of our history.
Yeah,
And I think it reflected the fact that we didn't have a full-time athletic trainer last year, so we did have more injuries. We can have a trainer full-time now, so they should help in prevention activities as well as in the treatment.
These are our
Nemesis.
nemesis.
And this is also sort of a niche coverage.
Excuse me, sir.
It's a niche coverage.
Right,
that-
it is.
That there are that you're limited number of providers that offer this coverage.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Canvas LMS contract renewal.
So Canvas is our learning management system here on campus. Their contract is up for a 5-year renewal. It's been recommended by the academic department that we continue with Canvas. For that, they've done good jobs for us, and there's really not too many options in it. So, and we're going to move on to 5-year renewal with Canvas. So it's recommended the board of trustees approve the Instructure is the company that provides the Canvas product. It's the Instructure renewal contract. It's in your packet for the Canvas LMS for a period of 5 years for a total cost over that 5 years of $495, $687.45. And then the cost will be in the budget for FY 2024 is $93,360.50 for the common, 0.3, and it's accounted for in the budget.
Motion to approve.
Your second? Questions? Costs, is it going up quite a bit, or is that pretty close to?
Canvas, it wasn't a huge
Not
increase.
raised by five, it's a little bit like.
I mean, they're going up. Most of these software purchases tend to go up with the inflation rate. I mean, they kind of tie, they literally write their contracts and tie themselves to that, whether it's tied to that.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Yeah, red cows purchase.
I think I've been waiting my entire life to read this. And I didn't know it. This was nothing that I think don't think I ever thought I would be reading this, but I will. Because I'm a city boy, Patty.
I'm glad to hear it.
I'm a city boy, so anyway, it is recommended the trustees approve the purchase of 23 red cows from Vendor Brothers Farms LLC of Sedalia, Missouri for $39,100. These red cows will be for the academic programs within the agricultural department. Funding is the J. Higgin Potter Educational Foundation.
I'll just provide additional detail. The Vendor Brothers Farms previously leased the farm and ran cattle on the farm that we had purchased. So these cows have been on our farm, and they are certified bred. They'll calve in the fall, which will fit in with our curriculum. By purchasing these cows, we save costs for transportation. We also save sales commissions. The rate was based on the livestock market at the time the agreement was made. So
Good information.
It's just the cows' homes too, right?
Yeah. That's right. They don't want to leave.
Do we have insurance for livestock, or what insurance do we?
Right now, we do not.
Okay.
So I probably need to do that. Yes, that was on my.
we do have liability on the farm.
Yeah, we have liability on the farm, but not actual livestock.
And then the second question I had is, when we don't have students attaining to our cattle or our agriculture director, what position do we have on staff that is groundskeeper, is farmhand? Do we have a farmhand, or will we need a farmhand on staff?
Our farm director, Brad Driscoll, takes care of the farm. So if you drove by the field today, he was on a International 560 tractor without a buggy top on it, raking the hay in our field. So he's the person working it.
So when there's
The schools.
The president of the college is back up on that.
Oh.
By my choice.
Go out your back, and there you go. But we don't need to worry about middle of winter and he's not, I guess was a concern of mine, is just making sure that we do have.
We have plans and contingencies, and yes, we do have to worry about it, and yes, things will happen.
Yeah.
Cows get out or whatever, but. Yeah, we have-
Were we told, are they Angus?
They're big.
Unfortunately, been out there and I know there was one white one and the rest were all black. So ain't that yet.
I think there's a
But it's not, but it's not.
Bars.
So, yes, Like,
An odd one.
yeah.
let your
But they-
biases show you.
I know, yes, I apologize, But they were tame, you know, there's a, just being around cattle and that sort of thing. Some can be wild and that's not good to have that when you think about kids. Well, I don't guess call them kids, the young people that be working with them. But yeah, I mean, when we rode around, I mean, they're just kind of looking at us like, what do you want? And are you gonna feed us or, okay, you know, so. Yeah, it was fun to get to see that part of the farm myself. All right, and entertain a motion to make that purchase.
Approved.
And the second then, all righty, any other discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The Fielding Fire Alarm System.
So as part of the renovation of the fielding, building, we had to upgrade the fire alarm, from the many years ago. It was installed to the new system. It's, not an inexpensive thing to do, and it's taken us a bit of time to find a bidder and, get this done, but we have. So it is recommended the Board of Trustees accept the bid for the fielding technical center and fire alarm replacement. The amount of $120,284 from Soteria Fire Safety LLC of Overland Park. One other bid was received that was higher than that bid. It's further recommended the Vice President of Finance Administration be authorized to direct to sign the agreement, Soteria Fire Safety, and form those actions necessary to carry out the terms of the agreement. Funding source for this is college capital reserves.
Just a reminder that as we entered into renovations of the Fielding Technical Center, the existing fire alarm in that building was declared that it was no longer appropriate for use. So this is the second time we did this project. First time we received no bids. We made some revisions and we were able to see 2 bids for it.
Who was it that deemed it not sufficient?
It's the fire marshal, the city code.
And entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Recycle More Grant.
Was a grant that's applied for last year by the maintenance group. As you know, in the past, they've gotten similar grants like this for recycled materials and in terms of various equipment to help with that. This is in that same vein. They recently did receive another award. So it's recommended the Board of Trustees accept the Recycles More grant in the amount of $69,054.06 from the West Central Solid Waste Management District F. These funds will be used for the purchase of the utility vehicle with a hydraulic loader for placing ferrous and non-ferrous metals into containers for recycling for our larger machining/welding lab. So we can recycle those used metals, rods, all of those things, and not send them to the landfill. They'll also use additional funds from this funds from this will also be available to purchase additional recycled collection bins that you see around campus. And then prepaid shipping containers for recycled, kind of more environmentally sensitive materials such as batteries, ballasts, and then lamps, light bulbs. Accepting these funds requires a 15% match from SFCC, so our match would be $10,358.15 to get to the total project, and then the total project amount of $79,412.21 is 69 plus the 10. Funding for the match is in the FY 2024 operating budget. So this will allow us to continue to our program of being appropriate stewards of recycled materials and not send them to landfills when there are other better options for them.
Our budget can take this.
Budget can take this.
Yes, so thank you. That's the move.
All right, thank
I'll
you.
second.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. High fidelity adult patient simulators.
Okay. Allison Lee?
Yes.
And they're talking about simulated.
I don't know if this is Lucina or not, but Lucy. But anyway, so the patient simulator in the Sedalia campus has
Passed away?
Yes, that's expired. I guess that's the simulation it is. So then we're in need of a new one. Like we were able to, we put it off this year so we can use enhancement grant funds for that purchase and build it into the budget. So it is recommended the Board of Trustees that their sole source purchase from C80 Healthcare, Charlotte, Illinois, the amount of $70,000 for an Apollo High Fidelity Adult Patient Simulator package. These are the same simulators we've used in our programs. It fits with our software. This is part of the whole package. So we set the source. This simulator will be utilized in the Sedalia nursing program. Funding is 75% enhancement grant, 25% operating budget.
I believe we recall that at our last work session, we did the tour and Dr. Brush spoke about this project and sort of showed us what was going on and what the need was when we made the campus tour last month.
Yeah, she had to wait till this fiscal.
And unfortunately, they make these in a way where at some point you can't do software updates as well as the mechanical aspects of it. And then you want to stay with technology as well, but mostly you cannot do any updates. And at some point, they're no longer supported, much like Windows 3.1, if you're still using that. You know, but that's what it's like, is using an old version that no longer supported.
Okay, do we take a motion? On your second? Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Residence hall construction documents.
I'll start it off that we've been working on examining the viability of building a new residence hall for a number of years. This project has been, we've had a team working on the project. We brought in experts. We've paid for external studies on the viability. And we've come to the conclusion confirming that we need a residence hall especially for our enrollment management strategy to attract students to our campus, and that we can, in fact, it's a viable plan for us. The demand is there, fill the residence hall, and to help us pay off the project. So we're to the point where we need to make a decision, and so we're here asking you today to make a decision. It looks like a simple recommendation, but it's really hours and hours of work. We've had work sessions where you've been shared the results of the external studies and the financial viability studies. And so nothing's changed. We found no concern. We're quite confident as leadership that a 200-room residence hall that we can maintain that and it'd be a viable enterprise for us. Currently, we have what are the numbers? Currently, just to remind, we're leasing across the road.
Right now, we have 108 beds in front residence hall. Across the way, we're seeing 224 rooms there, so you come with 332 beds overall.
330 beds, right?
Beds. So with this and the 108, we have a little less than that. It basically would replace.
So, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, may I be remembering correctly. Within the last couple of meetings, did we say that we thought about pushing this out? The building of the residence hall out because we weren't able to complete it financially?
No, we believe that, we've been raising the price slowly of our residence rates, and we believe that's proof of concept that students will pay the rate needed to finance a residence hall. So that was certainly an option on the table. They examined that and believe it's still viable. It's a conservative number, we could build bigger, but if you build bigger, then there's more pressure to fill and then more risk for the college. So we believe this is, helps to meet our enrollment management goal. We limit the risk as much as
We
possible.
evaluated this, which is a 200-bed unit. We also evaluated a 250-bed unit. And we felt that the prudent decision would be to go with the 200-bed unit, to be able to be confident we can fill it. If we at some point needed more than that, we have other resources that we go to. But we think this will be sufficient.
And then if we go forward with a construction of residence hall, we pretty well fix our cost going forward in debt service. Whereas with the present arrangement, whatever the lease rate increases are, we're doing that, and it does put financially in the long run. I think short term, there might be additional cost to debt service, but there'd be a turnaround point 4 or 5 years. And then have the additional life of the debt and the building at a fixed annual cost, which could well be beneficial.
Was the price point for the 200?
The total cost of the facility.
I think we're looking at what, 18 to 18.5, somewhere in that range, million.
And what was the price of 250?
Was it that high?
Maybe it could have been 17 to 75 at one point, but I think the latest was around 15. It's kind of an all-in, that's all made up on various costs. Okay. It didn't change there wasn't a lot of efficiency of scale when we went higher than that. So, with this bed, this one 50 out of 250 is an extra 25%, which is what, $4.5 million more. That was in the 21, 22 range. So we weren't getting any efficiencies by that. We actually, that's one of the things we looked at. It wasn't really coming out, to say that. And, but yet, I think having 250 rooms, another 100, we felt the prudent answer was not to expose us to that. Also, going for financing, I think this will be a much easier financing option for that reason. We can show that we can lease 200 beds. We have actual data to show we can do that.
And with the construction of that facility, maybe facilitate summer camp programs on campus. That would be a additional use of the building when there be would have the full capacity during the spring, fall and spring semester.
We're with our current facility, we're limited on kind of entrepreneurial approaches in the summer. Our Upward Bound program takes up space in the residence hall, and we don't really have a lot of space. So having an additional residence hall does open opportunities for camps. And also, if you combine that with our outdoor athletic facilities we're planning, there's some synergy that could come with that as well.
I spoke with a previous long-term serving board member on Sunday. He remembered this topic of building a new facility was spoke of months ago. Years ago. He said months, but one of the things that he brought up as a very viable point And it's not something we're discussing the dollars and cents and whatnot. But he brought up the element of safety that we would bring to our students by keeping them on campus as opposed to darting across streets. And I mean, I know they're college age, young people, but still,
Very true.
if you have the ability to offset it financially and have a break even point, which is what I'm hearing, at minimum break even. The other element is just an extra benefit perk, if you will, to the plan, to the project.
Dr. Porter would probably talk about that as well, but that's one of the factors we considered, that it's a lot easier to manage the facility when it's on our campus. And we can control that, so.
It's hard to respond sometimes at night. In the apartments. When if they're on our location in one building, it'd be 1,000 times.
And, you know, students crossing the street, and other safety factors related to that, always makes a difference.
Need a movement?
Will.
I need to read it.
You go
Tell
read
you
it.
what you're gonna do. It is recommended the Board of Trustees accept the bid from Robert Rawlings LLC of Sedalia, Missouri, in the amount of $425,000 for continued architectural services for the new residence hall. The bid includes final design development, detailed construction documents, bidding, negotiation services, and construction administration services for project completion. This further recommended the President and Vice President for Finance Administration be authorized to direct to sign the agreement with Robert Rawlings Architects to perform those acts as necessary to carry out the terms of the agreement. Funding source is college capital reserves, with those reserves to be replenished with financing proceeds upon approval and receipt of project financing. So we won't go forward until we get some financing for it as well.
Are you entertain a motion?
I'll give you a motion. I won't give you a movement.
All right.
I'll give you a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any more discussion, questions?
Justin, are you having any, do you have questions or thoughts or concerns?
I think that also, if my memory serves me right, that the community was behind this as well. Amy, were you on the strategic planning quite a while back? Do you remember that? Yes. Because I can remember since my term, you know, when the strategic plan, thinking about it with the community involved, you know, what are the things that our campus needs and what did the community support? And so I think that if I remember correctly, I feel like I'm gonna say it was number 3, but we've kind of taken care of 1 and 2. And so, you know, the community support, it's important to know that they saw it as something that they thought that, you know, we needed as well.
I just texted in about the price, and the current estimate's around 14.
That's, I was thinking
Yeah.
200 bed was more like a 14.5, 14.8, but I didn't know if that was all in.
Is that all in?
Or is
I
that
think
just
so.
built?
I think so. That price came down recently with 200. That was my memory. I thought it was around 15, and that's what,
So say we just say $3 million like that.
you know, what's another couple, right?
Well, I guess that was kind of what I was figuring here. Yeah, I mean, I think the initial price was when we first had this discussion, and then
Right.
I remembered 14.5, 14.8, something like that was in my brain. What is the cost to add another 50 beds at this point? I mean, because we're already right now, as we stand, we need more beds than what we've built anyway, right? I mean, do we have a waiting list? Are we full?
Right.
We're not full for fall yet.
As
How
of
far
today,
off are we?
we're 241, was that right?
Our sub 10 or 20 beds to assign.
How many?
10 or 20 left to assign. Doesn't mean applications aren't in. They
Sure.
just haven't had roommate assignments yet.
But is this particular motion that's on the floor right now, would that be impacted in any way, shape, or form, regardless of a 200 bed or 205 bed?
That's a
Yeah.
big deal.
So,
Well, right, and we bid it out for 200.
So, so in turn, is this something that you guys are thinking we might want to table or not? I don't know.
The, so what we're asking for is detailed design, so we would need, I don't know if there would be opportunity to design alternative, alternate bids or something like that. There might be that, but, I think part of our team's efforts, some of us have worked at institutions where, well, we're depending on revenue from the residence hall to pay for the residence hall.
Sure.
And so, to make it go, we're looking at 90% occupancy rate or something. So you're looking long-term over the length of to pay this off. We would have to have assurances that we could maintain that rate. We're really sure that we could maintain 90% occupancy rate at 20 beds. There was discussion, 200 beds. There was discussion, though, there's quite a bit more risk as you increase those numbers. So even though it looks good now, there are changes in education happening, changes that, and we would be committed for, 25 years for that. So our team was though we could, right now, we could probably fill 300 beds, right? We have across the road, but we just don't feel comfortable with that risk at the time.
Well, like you said, like, financing might get wonky.
So basically, Brian, I love analogies and see if this might work. If we were to go to WK Chevrolet to buy a new Impala, to even make those anymore. This would get us. Sorry. I drove Tom Vick's thing. But if we were to go there, we know that we're gonna have a base price of this. Dependent upon our options and our decisions, what alloy wheels, all that kind of stuff that might alter this. This would still not ever go lower. Is that what I'm hearing?
As we finance a project, that financing would be long-term, so the price would never be lower. So the amount we would need to cash flow to make those payments would never, would never increase over time. That was Richard's, if that's what you're asking. But what we're saying is, we're really sure we can afford an Impala. We're not for sure we can afford a car with additional features on
You're not getting the Mustang.
it.
I went to WK. Yes.
Oh, well, okay. No Corvette either.
I can't fit.
Listen, about 18 hours probably, but it should be.
I think that's more right. Sounds right.
And, we sat around the table debating this, multiple meetings and,
Last year, we filled approximately 270 beds. And out of what we built, if we had this 200 plus 100 of the residence hall, that's 300, so. But we can wait and look at this again, I mean, so.
I guess my feeling is that we've got the Tower Center. We've got the CAT building. We've got the healing renovation. There's some, we've got to get the farm going. There's a schematic for athletic facilities. I think I'd rather be a little conservative about the amount of debt than that we're taking on. Because we're taking on it's good debt. It all makes sense, but the number just is big. And so I could see us needing to be maybe a little conservative with respect to the residence hall.
On that note, though, are we gonna get 10 years down the road and think to ourselves, maybe we should have done a 250 room residence hall? And then plans start going in motion of having to build or extend. And then
No, it could go that way and, you know, we
Obviously,
could
yeah, it
start,
definitely could.
you know, looking at that. We do have some, as Keith mentioned, we have some options across the road, but it also could go another way.
Yeah.
And we think, oh my gosh, we're glad, you know, we don't have that other 100 beds that we have to sell.
But existing 108 needs some renovation as well. And if we needed extra capacity as part of that, if you do a total, do the renovation of that facility, it may be possible to incorporate additional rooms in as part of the remodel and refurbish that existing facility. Because that day's coming. Is my understanding of the of that facility. And it might make sense to look at that as the possibility for increased capacity.
Yeah, the question really is risk, you know, that we can get the price in the about the same line for students, but it's how much risk we want to take on.
Right. I guess what I'm hearing is Dr. Bates and his team are telling us that they feel comfortable and they would like to pursue a 200-bed facility. I mean, they're the ones that have to fill it, they're the ones that see the intake, they're the ones that have to respond to the emergencies, like, and if they feel a 200-bed is adequate for where we're at, and our duty is to put the financial fiduciary commitment to that. I agree with Richard. We got a lot of projects going right now, and you know, we got another project, another schematic that I think is very important to the growth of the college as well. So I would say I would support the 200-bed because we also do have a great partnership with somebody that's helped us out over the last few years when we only have 108 on campus anyway. So now we're going from 108 to 308 right here on campus. So, right, I mean, so I'm in support of proceeding forward with the 200-bed.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I
Thank
do
you for that
appreciate
good
the discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
good
good discussion.
All right, we're ready for the president's report. Dr. Bates?
I have a brief report today. I remind you that we have a retreat on Saturday. We're finalizing that agenda. We do think it's going to go past lunch, so we're ordering lunch to be delivered. And so please fill out your order before you leave. It's there in front of you. Probably, so we're starting at 8:30. We'll have some breakfast items available, and coffee and fruit and donuts and things like that.
Here.
It's here, and most of the leadership team will be here. We're just finalizing that agenda. I'll probably send it out tomorrow to you. And hopefully we can get through most of the items with most of the executive leadership team by lunch. And so I've released them at lunch. We'll end the day then with the examination of the board 360 stuff. And some of the leadership team will be staying for that discussion as well. You know, I anticipate us getting out early afternoon for that. So I just want to give you a timeline for that. The fair is coming up and just some dates to be aware of. On August 14th, the college has volunteered to sell water for the Missouri State Fair Foundation. And so we're seeking volunteers to staff those water booths. And we currently have times from 1 to 4 p.m. and 4 to 8 p.m. If you would like to volunteer with our team in doing that, please contact Mary Schwerner. Also on the 14th, Representative Alford will be doing a listening session on the farm bill. And as you know, we have some interest in the farm bill because there's some opportunity for community college training to be part of that farm bill. That listening session is from 10 to 12 in the Newport Pavilion. And Jolynn and myself will be at that, and probably others from the college. Also then, well, on the next day, on the 15th, the fair in the each evening has a flag retirement ceremony, and they honor a veteran. This year, we nominated a veteran from State Fair Community College, and Doug Gantz was our veteran, our nominee. He's a CTC instructor, and he was chosen to be honored at the ceremony on August 15th, the flag retirement ceremony. I think that's usually in front of which building?
Old
Admin?
The old admin building.
That's a highway gardens.
Oh, it should be the old admin building.
Did they
Just
change
for the
it?
military.
Last year was in.
Right, this is where the State Fair Foundation is.
Their material had a link to, it said fairground, had a link, and it showed a picture of the fairgrounds. So I couldn't figure it out, but when I've seen it in the past, it's been in front of that administration building. Yeah. So approximately somewhere around the administration building or other places on the fairground on August 15th or 5:30. If we find out it's somewhere else, I'll send out. And then the governor's ham breakfast is on August 17th. And if you would like us to purchase you a ticket to attend the governor's ham breakfast, please let Joe know, or you can let me know, and we'll purchase you a ticket. And we do have some members of our team that are attending that breakfast for various reasons. All right, so I believe that's my report. Mostly about food, if you notice that.
Yeah.
So.
Common theme.
On the, I know the first 2 weeks of fall semester, there are going to be various activities on campus. How soon would we need to let Lisa know if we would be able to participate in any of those events?
Most of those activities are you just show up and there would be no advance notice required, so.
Okay, we'll put together some information so we can present in the next upcoming boards. We can do that. Shelley and my office are gonna poncho most of that. So we can just coordinate all the activities going across and we can communicate. So we can make that an item that we can take back.
We are gonna have shirts again for people to wear to help students. And so if you don't have a shirt from the past and you'd like to get one, those will be available at the bookstore, I believe.
Yeah, we're working on all that, trying to get all this stuff just started.
Dr. Murders and his teams.
So we will, we'll also work on the move-in dates and different things like that stuff that's going on during these initial days.
Okay, all right. Anything else? Any questions for Dr. Reed? All right, we'll do our financial report. Pete?
First up is the final report of fiscal year 23, the June report. Couple of things I want to point out to you. First of all, I added the FY24 budget into the left column so that you can have a comparison of what FY24 budget looks like compared to last year's budgeting or the actual. So here's a frame of reference a little bit for those budgets. If you look at the third column over for the actual FY23 between general fund revenues and you see the net of about 9 million. That's substantially higher than we thought going into it. So we had some increased revenues, and then the expenses didn't rise as much in well above where we were last year as a net. So from a financial standpoint, I think we managed it very well. We had some good variance the right way. As we suspected, the tuition fees came in a little lower than we budgeted, but more than made up for some of the other areas, particularly in state grants and contracts and some other areas. And then you'll see that those expenses overall were higher than budgeted. A lot of it has to do with as the state grants and contracts numbers increase, we have, of course, an increase in the need for training to meet that. So those kind of go hand in hand, but there is a margin there, and that margin helps us bottom line. So, just I want to say that right now in the funds that our general funds that we have the ability to manage, ourselves, I think we did a good job with that and came in well above budget on a net basis. And you can see going to next year, we will have a budget, net about 1.3 million, which is between budget where we're this year. So that's really what I want to talk about here. Finally, in report 23, any questions?
On your F2 pie chart.
Yes, sir. F2 to that.
It's showing revenue sources.
What it is. It's a pie.
Yeah, the tuition fees 52.6, state appropriation 25.8,
That should be the budget ones.
and the property tax 14.5.
Yeah.
In the 3 years. Three budget cycles I've looked at, but the percentage of tuition fees has gone down slightly. Is that going down slightly and the state appropriation is going up? And the property tax contribution is remaining pretty constant? Is in percentage wise?
You need to go look. Typically, I would say, the last couple of years, yes, our state appropriation has grown because the state has, we have benefited from a revised MCCA formula on a committee I was on that distributed the amount that goes to community colleges was distributed in a manner to try to help those colleges, community colleges that were below the FTE mean in terms of being funded by the state. So we got some catch-up contributions for that. So because of that, our state appropriations did grow at a higher pace than our tuition fees. Okay, so that would be logical. Going forward, the formula is changing, so that will probably flip back a little bit and more even out. But yes, the last 2 years we were fortunate to be, there was a formula agreed to by MCCA press chancellors to distribute the funding that went to community colleges to make up some of the FTE differentials that were going on. We were on the lower end of some of that, as were other smaller community colleges. And on top of that, for instance, this past year, we had a 7% increase to the board, which benefits to us. So yes, we had the combination of good things happening that allowed that. So what you're saying is accurate. Our state appropriation would have gone up because of that. As a percent.
As a percentage, the tuition fees went down and property tax remained about the same.
That is an accurate statement.
Okay, thank you.
I had to catch up with you and remember what you were looking at. Yeah. Good. So the next report is the quarterly report, quarterly investment report. You'll see on here that as of June 30th, 2023, in the large yellow block, our cash and investments as of June 30th, 2023, was roughly 16,400,000. Of that, we had 22.7% invested in deposits. Those are gradually maturing and rolling into our time deposit, our demand deposits. Our demand deposit was earning a rate of 5.15% for the first 5 million, and then 5.10 for the about over 5 million. As of yesterday, that went up another quarter point with the FOMC rate investment, so it would be 5.40 for the rate, 5.4 to 5.35 with our demand deposits. At this point, I'll continue to roll funds into that account till we see at such point things stabilize, and we may grab something for a 2-year term. Right now, two-year T-bills are running about 4.9, I think, when I look. So we'll still be ahead of the game, but at some point that'll start to cross and we'll grab T-bills for the next years. Maybe go out, we can go out 5 years with the policy. We'll look at it at that point in time. So, and then you see this quarter, we have 2.8 million in time-based deposits maturing. We're rolling into the central bank account at 5.4, and conjecture is there's probably one more rate hike to go. Most people think one more, and then it'll stay the same for probably next year and a half. They're thinking in direction. So that we're playing this. So anyway, so we're earning a good amount, a fair amount on our deposits. Now, this 16.4, I will tell you, is probably going to be the highest it will be for this year. The months of June and July, or July in particular, are expensive months. We pay all of our insurance in that month. We pay all of across the street that month, and we're spending a fair amount of money on fielding, on stopper, various other things there. As we mentioned, we're using our reserves to make those repairs we talked about. So you'll see this amount, the cash balance, go down accordingly as we invest in our facilities and for our students and our staff and the staff. So.
Next item.
Oh, yeah. So there are some of the expenses we had that were in the following 10 to 25,000 range. Checks that were taken in the month of June to report on that don't go to board approval, but just so you're aware of them. We continue to have issues with the south parking lot water drainage. We did some work on that earlier this spring, 13.6, and I don't think we still have quite all of it. There may probably be another one we're trying to figure out there. Slate is our CRM vendor tool that I think that Autumn has finally hooked into shape.
I still haven't decided we're not going to fire them yet. So there.
But that was renewed for the year at 25,000. We purchased for their social tech program in Clinton. We purchased an operating table for 14.9. EAB, which is we have a consulting agreement with them for a variety of services we take advantage of. They have their annual fee of 24.5 was paid. We've seen that if you haven't been around campus, we've had a number of concrete repairs going on. We continue to do that, continue to catch up with that. So we had a payment to Jackson Concrete for that at $16,350. And then for some of the preliminary work on that Robert Rawlings has been done on the residence hall and schematic designs, we had a payment of the $18,322.86. So just keep you informed.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and the sidewalks, as you said, making all the difference. And certainly, with the weather and whatever else over the years, so it's looking very nice. So much needed for safety. Okay, so board discussion. Anybody have anything to share?
Justin, Kim and I met to discuss the 360, and we will have some comments and suggestions to share Saturday afternoon.
So you're going to give that to us that day instead of send it out ahead? Yeah. Okay. So our next board meeting for general session will be August 24th, which is a Thursday, 2023 at 5:30. You'll determine whether we need a work session at that time.
This will be the tax. We'll set our tax rate, so we'll have a public hearing prior to the board
Okay.
meeting.
And then don't forget to look at the calendar of events, get those things on your calendar so that you don't miss an opportunity to be on campus and see what's happening. So anything else before we then We'll go into closed session, but then as soon as that is over, we will just come out immediately and close the regular session. So we are going, I request a motion to go into closed session for A, which is the lease, purchase, or sale of real estate pursuant to RSMO section 610.0212. Hiring, firing, disciplining, or promotion of personnel pursuant to RSMO section 610.0213. And then C for legal issues, is that what I wrote?
Yes.
Issues, which is pursuant to RSMO 610.0211.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Amy? Kim Carr?
Yes.
Justin Hubs,
Yes.
Tom Olin,
Yes.
Richard Parker,
Yes.
Tricia Wood.
Yes. And we'd like to request Dr. Murders, Keith, and Scott, if you wouldn't mind staying. Thank you, everybody, for coming and sticking with us. 7:20, we still got a little bit of daylight. And that wasn't kind of the administration building. I guess they moved it since I have been.
Not you guys, they want snacks out.
Oh, I think so, Mary.
They built the.
Uh-huh.
They shut down the use of the admin building. the day after.
This tells me that it may be a low.
That's what I did Don Barber a couple
My
years
blood
ago.
sugar
Moved
was
it right
crazy.
outside the,
So we got
highway
a
garden.
salt and sugar.
But I have to admit that I think it was only a better place because we got more people, you know, because
You're not, all pretty much on.
absolutely smart planning. Well, I think then, did they last year then? Was it last year? We did one year anyway, out where the new flag is, the Centennial Day area. But, yeah, but that.
I mean, it's functional,
Yeah.
but they have a big, oh my God, it's not.
Best bootleg coffee I've ever had.
The main.
We know.
Yeah,
So.
and it's front and center.
We are.
Are we off, Lisa?
It's easy, it's all quick package, they don't want to put in, go.
We'll get Lisa to get us off line.